I'm not gonna lie, I felt very relaxed, very relaxed. And half of that comes from preparing, studying, and knowing I got God on my side. So throughout all that, I had no worries. I didn't feel nervous or anything before the game because, like he took all my worries and everything away. The past 6 months, it led me to a whole different understanding, and it led me in my own experience with God, with having faith, when nobody else can help you in your situation, but God, so that's why I'm truly thankful and I'm truly happy. And this is the first time I was never had stress, I did the work. I did everything I can in my power I was able to do. So the rest was left up to him.
What's happening in the NFL right now is straight up wild. If you're not watching closely, you're missing out on something that could completely change the future of football. The league's buzzing, social media's blowing up, and everyone, from casual fans to die-hard analysts, can't stop talking about what just went down. This feels like a turning point in the game, a moment so huge that people are already comparing a rookie to some of the greatest quarterbacks ever. This isn't some made-up hype or feel-good storyline. Nope, this is real. It's happening right now, and the ripple effects could last for years. But to really understand how massive this is, we gotta rewind a bit. Because once you know how this all started, it makes the story even crazier. Shedeur Sanders isn't just another quarterback prospect. He's the son of NFL icon Deion Primetime Sanders, a Hall of Famer who changed the game with his unmatched speed, swagger, and showtime energy. Here's what makes Shedeur's story stand out. He's never leaned on his dad's fame. From day one, he's been grinding to build his own name, to show the world he's not just here because of who his father is, but because he's earned it through pure skill, hard work, and undeniable talent. He's not chasing his dad's shadow, he's building his own spotlight. And the pressure on him, it's been massive from the jump. Growing up as the son of one of the most famous athletes in American sports brings expectations that most people couldn't handle. Every throw since high school has been picked apart, criticized, and measured against impossible standards. But somehow, Shedeur keeps rising higher, turning all that pressure into pure motivation and proving he belongs with the best. The pressure on Shedeur to perform, to live up to that legendary Sanders name, and prove he's not just some product of privilege has been nonstop. Every snap, every throw, every headline has been a test. But through it all, Shedeur has stayed calm, locked in, and determined to let his game do the talking. His college run at Colorado, under the watchful eye of his father, was nothing short of incredible. Critics tried to downplay his success, saying he only shined because his dad was calling the shots. But anyone who actually watched him play knew that was nonsense. Shedeur had pocket presence that looked unreal for his age, like he'd been reading defenses for a decade. The way he stayed cool under pressure, made split-second reads, and dropped pinpoint passes into tight coverage. Pure talent on display every single game. He wasn't just racking up numbers against weak teams. He was out there proving he had real NFL potential. Week after week, season after season, Shedeur showed traits that screamed pro-ready. And when the pre-draft buzz started heating up, it became one of the most talked about scouting processes in years. Everyone had an opinion, and nobody could agree on where he stood among the top quarterback prospects. Some scouts saw him as the future face of a franchise, a player with every tool needed to dominate at the next level. Others weren't so sure. They questioned whether his arm strength was elite enough, whether he could handle the lightning-fast speed of the pros, and whether the constant comparisons to his legendary father would become too heavy a burden. The arguments got heated, the takes were wild, and the predictions were all over the place. But then came draft day, the moment everything changed. When Shedeur's name was finally called and he officially joined the NFL, the world went crazy. Some cheered like they just witnessed history, while others shook their heads, wondering if he could truly live up to that iconic Sanders legacy. Some teams decided to pass on Shedeur, maybe scared of the media storm that was guaranteed to follow wherever Primetime's son landed. But other teams, they saw something bigger, an opportunity to grab a future franchise quarterback who'd been slept on and unfairly judged because of people's assumptions and outdated narratives. The team that finally drafted him didn't just make a pick, they made a statement loud and clear. They believed in Shedeur Sanders. They believed he could command an NFL offense and lead grown men under the brightest lights. and they were ready to bet their future on his talent, confidence, and drive to win. In the months before his first NFL start, anticipation reached a boiling point. Training camp updates became headline news. Every pass, every drill, every quote picked apart by fans and media hunting for clues on how he was adjusting to the pro level. Some reports couldn't stop hyping him up, talking about his poise, his leadership, and how he already looked like a natural-born field general. Others were more cautious, claiming he might need more time to adapt before getting thrown into real NFL action. The debates were everywhere. Sports talk radio, morning TV shows, endless social media threads. It was all anyone could talk about. Everyone had something to say, and everyone was waiting for that one moment when words would turn into reality. And then it happened. The announcement that sent shockwaves through the football world. Shedeur Sanders was officially named the starting quarterback for his first ever NFL game. And the setting? Oh, it couldn't have been more perfect for a moment this massive. Las Vegas, where the lights never dim, the stakes are sky high, and every move feels like a show. The entertainment capital of the world was the stage for Shedeur's long-awaited debut. Facing off against the Raiders, a team whose secondary was known for being shaky, he had the perfect chance to silence the doubters and show that all the hype wasn't just talk, it was real. The city of bright lights was about to witness the birth of something special. The stage was lit, the pressure was sky high, and the entire football world had its eyes locked in. Every camera, every commentator, every fan was waiting to see if Shedeur Sanders could handle the moment. And what happened next blew everyone's expectations out of the water. From the very first drive, it was obvious. This kid wasn't scared of anything. No rookie nerves, no panic, no freezing under the bright lights, nothing. Shedeur came out looking like a seasoned pro who'd been running NFL offenses for years. His pre-snap reads were sharp, his timing was smooth, and his accuracy straight laser level. He wasn't just managing the game or playing it safe. He was out there attacking the Raiders' defense with swagger and precision that screamed confidence. You could feel it. He wasn't just trying to survive his debut, he was trying to take over. Now, let's talk about those first half numbers because they tell a story all on their own. 7 completions on 11 attempts for 127 yards. That's not just solid, that's serious business for a rookie's first NFL action. That completion rate of about 64%, impressive for anyone, let alone a young quarterback making his debut on enemy turf with the world watching. But what really jumps off the stat sheet is the yards per attempt. Over 11 yards every time he threw the ball. That's not safe, check down football. That's a quarterback who's fearless, pushing the ball downfield, testing defenders, and keeping the defense guessing every single play. He wasn't padding stats or playing scared. He was going for the jugular, hitting his targets in stride, and moving the chains like he'd been doing it forever, man. And yeah, let's talk about the one thing everyone noticed, the interception. Yep, Shedeur threw a pick in his first start. Critics were quick to pounce, saying things like he's not ready, or too aggressive, or trying to do too much too early. But here's the thing those critics always miss, the context. That interception didn't come from panic or poor decision-making. It came from trying to make a big play, from taking a risk that most rookies wouldn't even dare to attempt. That's what separates Shedeur from the rest. He's not afraid to take chances when the moment demands it. He's got that fearless edge, that competitive fire that makes great players stand out. So yeah, he threw a pick, but in doing so, he showed the world he's not here to play scared. He's here to make history. That interception, it wasn't sloppy, it wasn't lazy, and it definitely wasn't from lack of preparation. It was crucial. Shedeur wasn't making a mental mistake, he was going for it. It was an aggressive move, a calculated shot downfield against a defense daring him to take that risk. That's the kind of decision that separates game managers from real playmakers. Because in today's NFL, playing it too safe doesn't win you games. It stalls your offense and keeps you stuck in neutral. Every great quarterback has had moments like that, mistakes that actually built their greatness. Peyton Manning threw 28 interceptions as a rookie. Brett Favre tossed 24 picks his first year as a starter. Even Patrick Mahomes, yeah, that Mahomes, has made wild, risky throws that didn't always land. But you know what all those legends have in common? They bounce back stronger every time. That's the difference between the ones who make it and the ones who fade out. It's not if they make mistakes, it's how they respond when they do. And that's exactly what blew people away about Shedeur Sanders' debut. It wasn't just the stats, it was the way he handled himself when things got tough. You could see it. The calmness, the poise, the control. When the pocket started breaking down and defenders were charging at him, he didn't flinch. He kept his eyes locked downfield, stepped up like a pro, and delivered darts under pressure. That kind of composure can't be coached. It's something that lives deep inside real competitors. That pocket presence, pure gold. Most rookies panic when the defense collapses. They scramble, they freeze, they force bad throws. But not Shedeur. He looked like he'd been in that chaos before and knew exactly how to handle it. That ability to stay cool while the world's crashing around you is something you just can't teach. It's what separates good quarterbacks from elite ones. And then there was his arm talent. Wow, every throw looked like a highlight waiting to happen. Scouts and analysts couldn't stop rewinding the film, breaking down his mechanics, talking about the velocity and pinpoint accuracy. His deep balls were a thing of beauty, perfect spirals dropping right into his receiver's hands 40, 50 yards downfield. It wasn't luck, it was precision, confidence, and pure skill. That debut didn't just show potential, it showed the makings of something legendary. Shedeur was out there slinging darts, threading passes through traffic like a surgeon. Intermediate routes zipped between defenders, quick outs delivered with enough fire to beat even the most aggressive cornerbacks to the spot. There was zero doubt now. This wasn't some quarterback with a weak arm or limited range. This was a quarterback who could make every throw the modern NFL demands and make it look easy while doing it. But what really set him apart wasn't just the arm. It was his brain and his instincts. Shedeur showed an advanced understanding of how to mess with defenses, using his eyes and body language like a pro who'd been in the league for years. You could see him looking off safeties, shifting them out of position before snapping back to his real target for a perfect strike. He used pump fakes like a magician, freezing defenders in their tracks and opening up clean throwing lanes that most rookies wouldn't even spot. And his pocket movement, smooth and smart. He wasn't just standing still waiting for trouble. He slid, climbed, and shifted around like he had a sixth sense, buying his receivers extra time to break open and turn routine plays into highlights. These are skills that take veterans seasons to master. Yet here was a rookie pulling it off in his very first NFL start. It was unreal. But the real magic wasn't just what he did individually, it was how his performance lifted the whole squad. You could feel the energy shift. His teammates fed off his confidence, his fire, his "I got this" vibe. The offensive line started blocking like their lives depended on it, protecting their young QB with everything they had. The receivers, they ran sharper routes, fought harder for catches, and laid it all out on the field because their quarterback was out there giving his all. The entire offense looked different, more connected, more electric, and way more dangerous. It was like Shedeur's leadership had flipped a switch and suddenly the whole team believed again. And on the sidelines, the reactions were gold. Coaches who'd been cautious all camp were now hyped, jumping up after big plays, shouting praise and encouragement. Teammates mobbed Shedeur after every touchdown, hugging him, cheering him, showing real love and respect for what he was doing out there. His debut wasn't just a performance, it was a statement, and everyone on that field felt it. And up in the press box, there he was, prime time himself, Shedeur Sanders, watching it all unfold with that mix of pride, emotion, and awe that only a father could truly feel. Cameras kept catching him reacting to every big play, smiling, fist pumping, sometimes even looking a little teary-eyed. You could see it written all over his face, the grind, the journey, the countless hours that led to this moment. It wasn't just a game, it was years of dreams, discipline, and belief finally paying off. But this debut wasn't just personal, it had massive implications. For the franchise that drafted Shedeur, this was the kind of performance that screams validation. It proved that taking a chance on him wasn't just a headline move, it was the start of something real. In today's NFL, nothing matters more than having that one guy, the quarterback who can elevate everyone around him. You can stack up elite defenses, monster O-lines, and superstar receivers, but without a true leader under center, you're still chasing shadows when it comes to winning championships. Now, this team's got hope, and not just short-term hype, but the kind that could define the next decade. If Shedeur keeps developing, keeps building on that electric debut, his team suddenly has a foundation solid enough to build a dynasty around. That's not just exciting, it's game-changing. And beyond one team, this story's lighting up the entire NFL. Shedeur's rise adds a fresh, emotional, and downright cinematic storyline to a league already full of drama. A Hall of Famer's son stepping into the league not as a copy of his father, but as his own man, playing a different position and writing his own legacy. It's the kind of story that reaches beyond die-hard fans. It hits people who don't even watch football, but love stories about family, legacy, and chasing greatness. The media can't get enough. It's instant gold. Talk shows, podcasts, highlight reels, they're all running wild with it. It gives the league another superstar to market, another rivalry to hype, another reason for fans to tune in every Sunday. And of course, the comparisons have already started, because in football, they always do. Fans and analysts are already bringing up the great family legacies in NFL history, wondering where Shedeur and Deion might eventually rank if this rookie keeps ascending. The Manning family instantly comes to mind. Archie Manning raising two sons, Peyton and Eli, who both became Super Bowl champions and NFL legends. If Shedeur keeps this pace, we could be witnessing the rise of another iconic father-son chapter in football history, and this one's just getting started. The Matthews family might have built a legacy across generations, but the Sanders family, they're writing something completely different, something even more legendary. What makes their story stand out isn't just the name, it's the range. Different positions, different eras, same dominance. From Dion ruling the field as a lockdown corner to Shedeur now stepping up as a precision passing quarterback, this family is showing the world that greatness really does run in their DNA. And when you look back at Shedeur's debut, there were plays that instantly felt like the kind you'll see in highlight reels for years to come. One of them, that deep bomb, dropped perfectly in stride. The receiver didn't even have to slow down, just caught it in motion and took it all the way to the house for a touchdown. That wasn't luck, that was touch, timing, and pure confidence. It looked like a veteran's throw, not a rookie's first game. Then there was that third and long play, pressure closing in, chaos all around. But Shedeur stayed cool as ice. He stepped up in the pocket, kept his eyes locked downfield, and fired a laser right at the sticks for a clutch first down. That's the kind of play that earns a quarterback instant respect from both teammates and critics. And we can't forget the red zone magic. Shedeur hit him with a pump fake so slick, it sent a linebacker flying the wrong way, then zipped a tight spiral to his tight end in the back of the end zone for 6. Plays like that don't just happen by chance. They're proof of awareness, creativity, and total command under pressure. But here's what really showed his maturity: the way he handled the sack. Most rookies, when that pocket starts collapsing and no clear throws available, they panic. They toss it up for grabs or scramble recklessly and risk a turnover. Not Shedeur. He read the situation, knew there was no safe play, and chose the smart move, took the sack, protected the ball, and lived to fight another down, losing a few yards instead of losing the football. That's the kind of next-level discipline that separates real pros from rookies still figuring it out. And credit where it's due, the coaching staff nailed the game plan. They clearly understood how to support their young quarterback, mixing up the play calls to keep the defense guessing. Short throws, deep shots, designed rollouts. It was a balanced attack that gave Shedeur a rhythm early and let him show off every weapon in his arsenal. The result, a debut that didn't just impress, it announced to the league that a new era might have just begun. The coaches came in with a plan that kept the defense guessing all night long. They mixed up personnel groupings, used motion to expose coverages, and built a rhythm that let Shedeur make smart, fast reads when he needed to, but still take deep shots when the moment called for it. This wasn't some cautious, just don't mess up rookie game plan. No way. This was an aggressive, modern NFL offense run by a first-year quarterback who looked like he'd been built for it. The Raiders clearly thought they had it figured out. Their whole defensive scheme seemed based on one idea, that Shedeur would play scared. They assumed he'd check down constantly, hesitate to throw deep, and crumble under the pressure of an NFL secondary. But wow, were they wrong? Shedeur flipped their expectations upside down and made them pay for underestimating him. He didn't hesitate to challenge their defensive backs head on. When they played tight coverage, he zipped the ball into windows most rookies wouldn't even dare attempt. And when they backed off, trying to respect his arm, he switched gears, took the easy completions underneath, moved the chains, and kept the offense rolling. The Raiders had no answers. They were stuck in a no-win situation, chasing shadows as Shedeur dissected them one throw at a time. By the time the final whistle blew, the world had already exploded with reactions. Social media went crazy. Highlights of his throws were everywhere, on every screen, every feed, every platform imaginable. Twitter, or X, was flooded with posts from players, coaches, and analysts all saying the same thing: this kid's for real. Fans were posting clips like they just watched the birth of a new star. Instagram lit up with slow-motion reels of his deep bombs and perfect touch passes. TikTok creators started breaking down his mechanics and vision frame by frame, showing just how advanced his reads were for a rookie. Even YouTube channels jumped into the mix, dropping emergency breakdowns and instant reaction videos to ride the wave of hype. The numbers behind all that engagement were wild. Millions of views, non-stop comments, and a flood of new followers for Shedeur overnight. It was clear. This wasn't just another rookie debut. This was a moment. The world wasn't just watching a quarterback. They were witnessing the rise of a new face of the NFL, and everyone wanted a piece of the story. Former quarterbacks who've walked that same path as Shedeur had nothing but respect for what he pulled off. They know better than anyone how brutal that first NFL start can be. The speed, the pressure, the chaos. It's enough to rattle even the most confident player. The game moves faster, the windows close quicker, and the spotlight burns hotter than ever. Yet, Shedeur handled it all like he'd been there 100 times before. That calm composure and total command he showed, it didn't just impress fans, it blew away the veterans who've lived that reality. their praise hit different because it came from a place of real understanding. These were guys who'd made those same rookie mistakes, felt those same nerves, and knew exactly how hard it is to stay poised when everything's moving at lightning speed. And here comes Shedeur, cool, confident, and completely locked in. That's the kind of performance that earns respect across the entire league. But it wasn't just the football world taking notice. There's serious business energy behind this too. His debut didn't just create buzz, it created a brand. You can bet jersey sales are already spiking as fans rush to grab his name and number. Companies are lining up, seeing the marketing gold in a young, charismatic quarterback who plays in a major market and happens to come from football royalty. Every sponsor wants a piece of that spotlight. The franchise itself is cashing in too. Ticket sales, merchandise, and TV ratings are all set to soar. Everyone wants to see what this kid does next. In today's NFL, where business and performance go hand in hand, a quarterback who can win games and move numbers is priceless. And right now, Shedeur looks like he's built to do both. But with all that attention comes a new kind of pressure. The pressure to prove it wasn't a one-time thing. The spotlight's only going to get brighter and the expectations higher. Because one great game doesn't define a career, it just sets the bar. The league's full of quarterbacks who lit it up early, only to fade once defenses started studying their every move. That's the challenge now, staying one step ahead when everyone's got your tape. And you can bet every defensive coordinator in the league is already grinding through film, breaking down every throw, every read, every little habit Shedeur showed in that debut, looking for cracks they can exploit. The chess match has officially begun. But if his first game is any clue, this young quarterback's got the mind, the skill, and the fire to keep evolving, to stay unpredictable, and to prove that this debut wasn't beginner's luck. It was the start of something real, something big, something legendary. Here's what gives real confidence that Shedeur Sanders can keep playing at this elite level: his preparation. The man doesn't just show up and play, he studies the game like an obsession. Every bit of film, every defensive look, every formation, he's breaking it down to the smallest detail. This isn't a player satisfied with one breakout performance. This is someone who's constantly hungry for more. He's always grinding, always improving, always searching for ways to be sharper, faster, and more unpredictable. When it comes to football IQ, Shedeur's on another level. He studies defenses like it's a science, figuring out their tendencies, learning how to read disguises, and anticipating what's coming before the snap even happens. That's the kind of mindset that keeps great quarterbacks great for the long haul. And physically, he's locked in there too, putting in the work to keep that arm strong and his body ready to handle the grind of a long NFL season. But what might be the most impressive thing about him? The balance between humility and confidence. He's humble enough to take coaching, accept criticism, and learn from mistakes. But when the game's on the line, he trusts his own instincts without hesitation. That rare mix of self-awareness and self-belief is what turns talent into legacy. With that attitude and his raw ability, this debut doesn't look like a one-time flash. It feels like the start of something special, something built to last. Now, if we zoom out a bit, it's worth remembering that the NFL's seen its share of rookie quarterbacks who came out swinging. Some of them turned into legends, Hall of Famers who lifted trophies and rewrote record books. Others, they started hot but fizzled fast once defenses caught up. The real separator has never been talent. It's how they handled adversity. It's how they bounced back when the spotlight got too bright, when the game got tougher, when teams started adjusting to their every move. And that's where Shedeur's situation hits different because of the support system he's got behind him. Having Primetime Sanders as a father is a built-in advantage no amount of money can buy. Deion's lived every high and low this sport has to offer. He's been under the brightest lights, faced the loudest critics, and still came out shining. He knows the media storms, the business pressures, and the distractions that can trip up even the most talented players. Prime's experience gives Shedeur a kind of guidance few athletes ever get. A steady hand that's already walked that road and knows how to stay grounded through the chaos. That combination, elite work ethic, sharp football mind, humble leadership, and priceless wisdom from one of the greatest ever, it's why people are starting to believe that Shedeur Sanders isn't just another rookie quarterback. He's a future star built for greatness. That guidance from Deion is going to be priceless as Shedeur continues navigating the wild, pressure-packed world of being an NFL quarterback. Every young quarterback faces growing pains, but having that kind of wisdom in his corner gives him a serious edge. Still, even the most talented quarterback needs the right pieces around him, and Shedeur's supporting cast is going to play a huge role in how far he goes. He's clearly got the talent to make others better, but having receivers who can win their routes, get separation, and turn tight throws into big gains makes everything smoother. When your wideouts can create space, it lets a quarterback play loose, confident, and creative. And that offensive line, man, they're the heartbeat of this whole operation. Giving Shedeur the time he needs to step up, read the defense, and deliver those accurate lasers downfield. That's what keeps the offense rolling and keeps defenses guessing. And let's not forget the running game. A strong ground attack keeps the defense honest. It stops them from sitting back with 8 in coverage and forces them to respect every snap. When all these pieces click, the line, the backs, the receivers, it creates the perfect storm for a young quarterback to thrive and evolve faster than anyone expects. Now, looking ahead, the excitement around what Shedeur could do this season is off the charts. People are already asking the big questions. Can he keep this same level of performance over a full 17-game grind? Will he continue to grow more comfortable as the chemistry with his receivers tightens up and the playbook opens wider? And how will he respond when he walks into those hostile stadiums where every fan is screaming against him and every snap feels like a battle? These are the tests that make or break a rising star. Defensive coordinators across the league are already losing sleep trying to figure him out. You can bet they're cooking up all kinds of chaos. Disguised coverages, exotic blitzes, delayed pressures, all designed to rattle him, to make him second-guess what he sees. They'll send pressure from weird angles, drop linemen into coverage, and force him to make lightning-fast reads under fire. They'll dare him to throw into tight windows to test his accuracy and arm strength against the speed of NFL defenses. And that's what makes this next chapter so thrilling. The chess match between a young, fearless quarterback and the crafty veteran defensive minds trying to stop him. Every game is going to be a new puzzle for Shedeur to solve, and the way he adjusts, the way he adapts, that's what's going to define his rise. If his debut told us anything, it's that he's not just ready for the challenge, he craves it. The spotlight's his home now, and the league better be ready, because this story is just getting started. For the franchise and its fans, Shedeur's debut feels like a fresh breath of hope, a spark after seasons that might have felt uncertain or flat. When you finally get a quarterback you can believe in, everything changes. It shifts the whole energy of an organization. Suddenly, the team's not just playing to survive, they're playing to build something real. Having that kind of player under center opens every door. Free agents start looking at your team differently. They want to sign because everyone loves the idea of playing with a rising star who can actually lead. Draft picks don't have to be used in desperation for a quarterback anymore. Instead, they can be spent on building weapons around him, stacking the roster with playmakers, protection, and defense to chase championships. When you've got your guy, the whole team can finally move with one vision, one mission, to build a contender around him. And make no mistake, the spotlight on Shedeur is only going to grow brighter from here. Every press conference will get dissected for clues about his mindset and how he prepares. Every post he drops online will have fans and analysts trying to read between the lines. People will analyze everything, his relationships with coaches, teammates, and even family, because that's what comes with being an NFL quarterback in the social media era, especially when your last name is Sanders and your game backs up the hype. How he balances all that pressure, how he stays grounded and keeps his focus locked on football is what's going to define the next chapter of his journey. If his debut showed us anything, it's that he's got the poise, maturity, and drive to handle it all like a pro. So yeah, this isn't just another rookie story, it's the start of something way bigger. A new energy, a new leader, and maybe, just maybe, the birth of a future legend in the making. If you love this breakdown, make sure to like, subscribe, share, and drop a comment below with your thoughts on Shedeur Sanders' debut. Was it the best rookie start you've seen in years or what? Let's keep the conversation going, and as always, see you on the next one.